Alright guys, what's going on? So, testing out the ViperSharp. Mike over at ViperSharp provided this for me to kind of as a loaner to test out. As I used the Wicked Edge, wanted to hear my thoughts about how it compared. And I've also used the KME sharpener, so I feel like I have a pretty good basis of comparison. The knife from Sharpening is a QSP Shark or something like that, some cheap knife. But I had a really bad chip in the edge, so I'm fixing the chip, reprofiling it to 15 degrees per side. Definitely recommend any kind of sharpening system, get an angle guide. Like the ViperSharp has these little marks in the back that, you know, kind of basically, or they don't have any numbers or anything. I think the third one down is literally at 15 degrees, which is nice because it does match up pretty well. But like on the Wicked Edge, it has the markings. They're not always accurate, so I always recommend using a angle guide. I'm starting out with a 250 grit diamonds. This is the Diamond Stone Pack. The setup of this thing was super easy. One thing I really like about it, which I need to actually just remind myself I need to tighten, is the clamp system. Easily flip the knife over to the other side and to test sharpness while having the knife clamped. I've got a almost got a full burr. There's a few spots that don't have it. Now that's one thing that's different about this is the Wicked Edge, with the way that the knife sits like this, I found it really easy to find a burr. These kind of systems, now that I know what I'm, once I've got more experience, it's easy. I can feel I got a burr most of the way. I need to spend a few more time up here towards the tip and up right here. That's where that chip was. But it's the same kind of idea as a Wicked Edge or a KME, where you have the knife in the clamp just like this. Same with the Lansky. It's a very commonly used setup. But Mike at ViperSharp has done a few things to make his a little different. How you swap the stones is really easy. How you can keep the knife in the clamp I really like. And the setup was super easy, and the price is really good. It's like $225. I'll link the description for this diamond setup. Comes in a nice case. It's like a gun case actually, which is nice. And so far it's been easy. I'd sharpened my Kershaw. The Shuffle Tanto is first Tanto I did. I noticed the Tanto was really easy to do on this system. Probably more so than the Wicked Edge, just because of the way the knife is in the clamp. I'm going to tell you right now, guys, there is no perfect sharpening system. I do really love the Wicked Edge, and I think it's the easiest one to use, but this is pretty dang easy too. So let's see how our burr's doing. Yeah, definitely got a burr. I don't know if you can hear that. You should be able to hear my fingernail catch it on the burr. That's one really good way to tell. How's my chip doing though? I've got it mostly out. This is 440C, I believe, so it's pretty soft. So it shouldn't be a big deal. Okay. So to take the knife out, you just unscrew this, not to take it out, but to flip it to the next side. You unscrew that little guy, this just slides out like so. You can see the knife stays clamped. Slide it in like that, tighten it back down. You're good to go. Now you can start on this side. So now I can knock off the burr on this side. I didn't really pay attention to the number of passes. I used to do that. You can see the bevel on this side is also skinnier. That was one thing about the Wicked Edge, Go at least. I bet on the nicer Wicked Edge systems you don't have this issue, but on the Go, every once in a while you get an uneven bevel on one side because you have to set the angle on both sides, and on this you only have to do it once, and same with KME. So there is an advantage there, I think, for these kind of systems over the Wicked Edge. But it did come loose, I guess, once, and it made the bevel a lot wider on this side, and so, or on the other side. So I'm fixing that, putting them both at 15 degrees. You can see I'm just using sharp, basic sharpening. I mean, you have this nice knob. I prefer to hold it down here for some reason. The knob is nice though. It definitely gives you plenty of control. One thing I always had an issue with the KME was the clamp. When I would sharpen like at a pretty sharp angle like this at 15 degrees, it would scratch, the diamond stone would hit the clamp and scratch it up really bad. So I noticed I don't have that issue with the ViperSharp. I also really like the base of the ViperSharp. I think it's really nice. It's like a nice solid piece of, I mean, it almost looks like granite. That'd be crazy expensive if it was, but very solid base. I can't remember exactly what material it is made out of, so excuse me for that. I will look in the description or something later, but really easy to use though. I mean, just very much like the Cami, very much like the Lansky. It's got some improvements in my opinion on both systems. Definitely with the Lansky. I don't even, you know, you got infinite angle you can do on this thing, where the Lansky you have, I think, 3 or 4 options. Cami is similar. You have quite a few options on the Cami. But really, there's no knife you couldn't sharpen on this that you could, or on the Cami or the Wicked Edge, you couldn't sharpen on this. So it's really just kind of, I think, a personal preference more than anything. You can see I'm removing some good amount of steel here with this diamond. The diamond cuts really nicely. And it's a brand new stone, so it hasn't been broken in yet, and I believe, I'm definitely a firm believer that there is something behind that about breaking in stones. Because I noticed since I've used my Wicked Edge a lot to sharpen knives, it's broken in nicely. I'm getting my burr on the other side. Not so much towards the tip. But yeah. So I'm just got the burr on one side, now getting on the other side, then we'll knock it off on both. Then we'll progress in our grits. This is the most important step in sharpening, is getting that burr, creating that apex. Everything after that is really just refining the scratch pattern. So yeah, so far though, super easy to use. I mean, I like it. Yikes, that's sharp already. I might just cut myself. This is where the chip was, and I'm noticing a little bit of a, I'm going to work on that a little bit more. See, I like to hold it down here. I know it's got this ball, but for some reason I just like to pinch you right there. It just was felt natural to me, maybe, I don't know. This is definitely different. It's taken some adjusting, getting used to this, for this is the Wicked Edge. The Wicked Edge is definitely a whole different animal. How it sharpens, how it's set up, how your strokes are. Can't seem to get that roll completely out. I might probably need to go up more. Let's see how we're doing that. Yep. Alright, so now I'm going to flip it over. This is one thing I don't love, is having to flip it to knock the burr. The nice thing about the Wicked Edge with a knife sitting like this is you can just do some trailing strokes on both sides, knock off the burr on both sides really quickly. This takes a little bit more work. You have to flip the knife over, lock it back in, do a few strokes like this to knock off the burr. Just going to do 10 on that side, unscrew it, flip it over. So this is not my favorite part, and it's not in the ViperSharp. It's more, this is just how the KME is too. You have to do this. Or on the Wicked Edge, it's all just in the clamp. So still have a little bit of a burr on that side. Alright, I think we're good to switch. So to switch the stones, you just pop it out, super easy. You can go up to the 400 grit, 600, you know. 400 not necessarily, I mean, we'll do it just for the sake of the video, but then we just move along this side, and at this point you're just progressing through your stones to refine the scratch pattern. Just remember I didn't lock this. Yeah, I did. Okay. Alright, flip it. This is where I actually do find it helpful to count passes, because then you can kind of making sure you're doing each grit, you're doing the same number of passes. Just helps keep that scratch pattern pretty even. This does bring me back to my KME days, though, sharpening. We're pretty fortunate, though, to have so many good systems out there to sharpen with, man. I mean, there's really nothing these systems can't handle that you throw at it. Maximum steel, no big deal. I don't know why I'm holding it like that. You don't have to. It stays in place. I just saw myself doing that in the video, and I was like, what the heck am I doing? This kit didn't have the lapping films. He did say he's going to send me those so I can do some nice polished edges. This kit also comes with a strop, so it has 4 diamond stones and a strop. Really good price, because with the Wicked Edge, where they get you is the add-ons, man. You know, you have to buy strops, you have to buy glass stones for the, you know, I mean, it only comes with 2. And I'm comparing the Wicked Edge Go. The other systems aren't really a fair comparison, just because they're quite a bit more expensive and more refined. And, you know, I'd say the Wicked Edge Go is the closest in price to this system, and it comes with just a 200 and a 600 grit stone. That's it. I think they have a new one that has it has, maybe it includes the strop, or maybe it includes the 800 and the 1000. I don't know. I added it all on later, so. See, this is what I like. See how I've got the knife in my hand, still in the clamp, and I can test sharpness. This guy is going to be, I mean, we're already at 400 grit, and it's just plenty sharp. So we're going to move on to the next stone, I think, and just kind of keep progressing through. Wait, did we start on this side? I think we just finished on that side. See, that's another thing I don't love about the clamp system, is I have to remember which side I started on, which side I finished on after doing stuff like that. But we're just going to switch now to the 600 grit. And again, this is 440C steel, so it's pretty soft, really easy to sharpen. You'd have to spend more time, you know, with the higher stuff like M4, M390, you know, Maximate stuff. You're gonna spend way more time on the lower grit stones than this. This was easy. We're just progressing up to 600 grit, which honestly on my Wicked Edge Go, I go 200, then to 600, then I go 800,000, 1500 lapping film strop. This is going 250, 400, 600, all the way up to 1200. So, kind of like having those in-between stones of 800 and 1000 personally, but I had to add those on, and you could add those on here. I'm sure they have, they offer those grits. I don't know that, you know, going to 400 from 250 is necessary. I don't even think 250 on this steel was even necessary. I could have probably just started with 400 grit and easily reprofiled this knife, but it's nice to have options, you know. I'm just going through the whole progression. Again, I'm holding it up there like, it's just, I find myself doing weird things with this system. But the base is nice, you know. To add the base on the KME was, I think it was extra for the wood base. And then the Lansky, for sure you have to pay extra for the base, otherwise you're just holding your hand. Same with the KME, it's like a almost like a pistol grip that you're holding in your hand while you're sharpening. I like a base a lot better. Less margin for error, I feel like. Okay, we're just gonna flip her over. Yeah, I feel like I have better control holding it than up here with the knob. And that's the nice thing, is that you don't have to hold it by the knob is there. It's not like you have to keep it there. See, I'm holding it down there. I think it's safer to hold it up here because you're not going to accidentally hit your finger on the the sharpened blade, which I very well could where I'm holding it. But it's like, I feel like, I don't know, it just feels more natural for some reason. And I don't know why I'm holding it. You see me do this, like, it just feels good to hold it there, so I'm just going to keep rolling with it. That's the thing. Not everyone's going to sharpen the same way, right? I know this isn't the most exciting thing to watch, but some people really like sharpening. So. But look how easy it is to swap stones. Love that feature. That's really nice. They just go right on. Boom. And it's really smooth. It's got a nice bearing, kind of like the KME has. So it's a very smooth motion to use this guy. We're on the 1200 grit diamond now, and then we're gonna strop it. And that's all we can do right now. I don't have the lapping films yet, but nice thing is if you keep a sharpening journal like I do, you can write down, you know, hey, I did this knife at this degree and I went up to this grit, and then I can come back and once I get those lapping films and just set it to the same degree and just use the lapping films. I don't have to go through the whole process again, you know what I mean? And that way when I want to resharpen the knife, if it gets dull, which, you know, doesn't really happen too often once I get a good edge on them, I usually just strop them, but if it does happen, I can go back and look at that journal and say, okay, you know, I did it 15 degrees, because reprofiling the knife is what takes the longest. If you're matching the same angle, sharpening is so fast, especially on a steel like this. I think we'll do one more pass on this side, flip her over. Give her a nice little wipe down. So you can see how easy it is to use. I definitely recommend the system. I like it. It's easy to use. It's inexpensive. It's got some improvements over the KME in my opinion, especially with the base and the swapping of stones and the being able to test sharpness while in the clamp is actually a pretty big game changer. I like that better than the Wicked Edge. That's the best feature of this system, I feel like, is, you know, being able to take it out, because once you unclamp it from a Wicked Edge or the KME, it's very hard to find the same area that you clamped the knife in the previous time, and that can throw out if you have to reclamp it, that can throw it off. And I've had times where I've sharpened a knife and didn't get enough of a burr, didn't knock it off good enough, and it was not very sharp, and I had to reclamp it and redo it. With this, that's never going to happen. If it's not sharp when I test it, I just keep working the same grit. That's the beauty of this system. I feel like that's its strongest point, minus the cost being a really good point too, and what you get. You get quite a bit included with it. I can tell you too, though, I do like stropping better on the wicked edge as well. I'll probably feel the same way about the lapping films once I get to that point. Alright. We're done at 1200 grits now. I'm going to throw the strop on there. I did put some 1 micron emulsions on there from Dragon Spit, and you can see I did kind of jack up. The stropping motion is different on this than it is on the wicked edge by a lot, so I was doing the same kind of motion in it. I noticed, oh, it's cutting into it, so you got to do it a little differently. With this, you kind of got to go like this. That way you don't hit the edge, so you're kind of going away from the edge. The strop, wicked edge is a different motion altogether. So I do prefer the stropping on the wicked edge. But once you get used to it, this is easy. And it's not going to jack up your strop anymore. Just kind of a motion like away from the blade, away from the edge. Okay, flip her over. I do love these emulsions. I'll bring them into the screen here in a minute when I'm talking about some Dragon Gargoyle Spit. Maybe that's what it is, not Dragon, Gargoyle Spit. It's good stuff. I have it all the way down to like 0.25 microns, so if I wanted to buy multiple strops and really go to town on these guys, bring that finish all the way down to 0.25. I usually do this after lapping films, but because I don't have lapping films, I'm just going to do it after the 1200 grit. Alright, we're done now. Hopefully by now we're sharp, but and we already tested it. But you know, if I wanted to test it, again, super easy. Just grab paper or something. Oh yeah, this guy is really sharp. Look at those curls we're making. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Look at that little curly cue. Yeah, definitely sharp. Very, very sharp. So now we can take it out of the clamp. You can do that a couple ways. You can have it out of the system. I like to put it back in here and just loosen this. You include an Allen wrench, and you're done. This knife is ready to rock and roll and is very sharp. Yep. We'll probably, yeah, plenty sharp. There you go. It took 24 minutes. Not bad. I was talking a lot too. I could have done it faster if I wasn't. One thing I do like too is when you're done, you can leave that unscrewed. You got a little place to store all your tools here. I'll show you what I mean. So if you want to leave it in the base, I'm not going to really keep it in the case. See, it's got this little keeper here to keep all your Allen wrenches, which is really neat. Once you set your angle and stuff, you just tighten it down here. Again, this tightens down the clamp. This tightens down the clamp on the knife, and this guy is held in place by that bushing, and you got a set screw on that to change that. Yeah, I dig. Easy system to use. Easy, you can get great results with it. Let's see, get some receipt paper here. Should be able to cut through this guy, no problem. Yeah, I find if you can get through this receipt paper, you got a sharp knife. There you go. Alright guys, thanks for watching my sharpening on the ViperSharp. I will give my final thoughts probably in a different video, but once I want to sharpen a couple more knives, but so far I like the system quite a bit.